Hey everybody, hello, it's Leisha Berry here. Welcome to my new video series. This is the Embodied Spirituality series, and today is the first video in that series, and today's video is entitled Moving Forward in Concert. But a bit about me, I'm an artist and an author and facilitator and teacher. I help people to remember their connection to the bigger picture and remember their place in the bigger picture, and to access their inner wisdom. It's my great joy to do that. I've had a long journey of doing that myself, and I'm very pleased to be able to share what I've learned about coming home to myself with others. Want to talk to you today about embodied spirituality and what that means to me. Embodied spirituality is the living of the everyday life as a miracle. To me, it's the knowledge and the awareness that there is no separation between body and spirit, or between matter and spirit, except for the fact that the vibrational frequency of matter and spirit, perhaps are different, but that they are just part of the one continuum, one spectrum of all creation. We have been living with a disembodied approach to spirituality for many thousands of years, from the beginning of patriarchy. A long time ago, we have seen a slow slide into a disembodied approach instead of a lived understanding of spirit in the everyday miraculous. We've moved into this very distinct and pronounced separation of body and spirit that we're all really suffering from. I think we are all we're feeling disenfranchised collectively in the human psyche, where we can feel that there's something off balance, we can feel that there's something wrong, we can feel that separation has not served us, and we can certainly see the evidence of that in the way that we treat each other, the way that we treat the earth, and the way that we treat ourselves and our own bodies, that we aren't holding the physical as sacred. This is not new information. The ancients, the indigenous, knew, lived that everything was part of spirit, everything had its place in spirit, and every piece was important, whether it was visible or not visible, whether it was large or small, whether it could talk or not. Every plant, every animal, every cloud, every lightning bolt, every person, everything was understood as a lived aspect of spirit. My advocacy is that we return to that we discover in our own lives that we are the miracle. We are indeed miraculous. The fact that we were born is miraculous, and the fact that we're alive and that you can hear my voice and that we can understand each other is miraculous, and that is, part of the miracle of spirit, that we really literally are embodied spirituality. Now, when I say a lived understanding of the spirit and everyday miraculous, I'm talking about, loving our body and understanding that our body is indeed an extension of source energy, down to the cell, down to the quantum particle. The emotions, the feelings are feedback loops from what we experience physically, and that energy that flows, that the emotional energy that flows, is also spiritual and important and equally valuable. The things that we consider to be flaws, our fragility, are all deeply spiritual and miraculous in and of themselves. The fact that we don't trust, that we doubt, even that we can trust that we have good reasons for feeling how we feel, and that is part of the picture too, that's part of being an inspirited body, an inspirited person living in embodied spirituality. There's this idea that we've developed over this separation of body and spirit over the years, that the physical life is to be suffered through, or to be transcended, or to be kind of slogged through until you get your great reward at the end and leave the body, and then you're free and you're liberated, instead of really celebrating the physical experience of the miracle that it is. And I really don't experience that as a very life-affirming way to live. In my life, what I've understood is that spirit is present in all things, down to, again, the quantum particle, the most, invisible thing. And it's not about leaving and going somewhere else. When I say I'm going to be spiritual now, that's sort of compartmentalizing spirit, and I just don't find that to be possible. I find that everything is spiritual, whether it's, peeling the carrots or changing a poopy diaper or driving in my car and seeing somebody do something rude, or all the way to having quiet moments of reading my book and having an awareness or making some connection in my brain, or connecting with you, people that are out there in the world who are looking for similar answers. It's such a miracle to be alive. Every little thing that we live through is really, truly special, even if it's difficult and challenging. Now, this sort of seamless, way of living that the indigenous and the ancients knew, there's a great example that in nature, the way nature just kind of goes about its business. It grows and it manages its energy in this very balanced way, and there's not ever this sort of, wait, this is physical, so therefore it's not important. It's just this sort of seamless approach to living. It's all in integrity and all together, and it's calibrated. What I mean by calibrated is that calibration is when all aspects of something are moving together in concert, moving together in a coordinated way. When we undergo a growth experience like what we're all going through right now collectively, in the human psyche, we're really being grown. We're really, we're being expanded, and we're getting all these impulses, like I've talked before about in the Wise Ways videos. We're really getting these pulses to let go and to grow and expand, and that we, in the ideal situation, we are growing with all aspects of ourselves moving forward at the same time in concert with that expansion. When I say parts of self, let me explain what I mean very briefly. It's, physical, emotional, mental, energetic bodies, conscious and subconscious are parts, chakras, for example, or inner child, inner critic, there are many aspects of self that are contained within the system of the oneness of each of us. And ideally, when we're coming into a growth experience, all the aspects of ourselves, or enough of them, so that there's momentum, can move together into that expansion, into that growth experience in such a way that the growth experience is integrated into the person's life and it can be applied in very grounded and practical ways. And that we would call that a seamless growth, just like nature. There's no glitch, there's no hiccup. It's just all kind of moving forward together at the same time. However, human beings are very interesting in that we can actually have parts of ourselves that resist or reject growth and hold back when that growth impulse comes in. And what happens when we go through that situation is that we encounter the growth process, because that's what happens when you're part of this universe. You're going to grow one way or the other. We encounter the growth, and part of us may be on board and move forward, but some other part of ourselves may be like, eek, and kind of hold back and sort of reject the growth experience. And so what we feel when that happens is we feel that frustration, we feel fear or anxiety, or we feel unstable. Frequently, this is seen in self-sabotage, like, that a part of ourselves is ready to move forward in some way. For example, in business, we're ready to go try out some new thing that we're really excited about, and we may even, get some success towards that, but there might be some aspect of ourselves that holds us or yanks us back and says, oh, no, you don't. And that would be an experience of a non-calibrated movement forward. And of course, that creates problems, in situations in our lives that are challenging and uncomfortable. And I find that this frequently happens, especially when there's a disagreement between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind, of course, with up front, it's like the 5% that's like, okay, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to do, this is my goal, I'm going to move forward. And the subconscious does that 95% that's, back here in the back, and it's like, I'm here to keep you safe, buddy, and if you're doing anything risky, I'm going to make sure you can't do it by putting all these fears in your way or literally sabotaging the ability to get this thing done that we want to get done. I have a great example of that. The subconscious throwing up a wall or a barrier to keep me safe, and that is when several years ago a Hollywood agent approached me because of my family's journey, the odyssey that we took. It was a 7-year odyssey, and that story is on www.fairytrip.us. Anyway, this fellow was hearing our story, and he said, wow, that would just be an amazing movie. And I was just writing the book, and I was not even, second chapter yet. And when he said, send me a book proposal, I really want to, market this, I was like, it totally shut me down. I mean, I was flattered. I was excited for the attention that he was interested. I was like, wow, that's great. But there was a part of me that was so frightened by the attention and so frightened by the potential of being exposed to a lot of people and our story being told to so many people that I literally shut down and could not finish the project. I couldn't finish writing the book. And it took several years to move into a different place about that. So that was my subconscious sabotaging me. I encountered this growth experience, this person expressing interest. Here's this new opportunity to be something bigger than you are right now. And part of me being like, oh, great. And the other very big part of me going, oh, no, that's really scary. I don't want to do that. And so that's an uncalibrated response to the growth experience. So the positive around that is that besides the fact that I get to share it with you, and hopefully it's a teaching tool for you, the positive about that is it gave me an opportunity to see where there are parts of myself that are holding me back. What in my subconscious needed some balancing so that it could relax a little bit and work in agreement with my conscious mind. And this calibrated effect is how embodied spirituality works. We can send our egoic mind way out there, and our physical body can be way back in the dust, and we can have all these like trippy spiritual experiences and awarenesses and insights, and in the meantime they're not being lived through the body. And I just don't find that that's been very useful for us. We've tried it for about 5,000-6,000 years. It's not working out too great. So my advocacy for you is that you focus in this amazing time of change on embodying what's happening to you, really focusing on bringing all of you to the plate when it's time to step forward across that growth edge that you have been presented with. And if you're having a challenge living in that everyday miraculous, or if you're having a challenge with all aspects of yourself moving forward in a concerted, calibrated manner, feel free to call me or email me for an appointment. I'm known as sort of an energy mechanic because I have a good nose for ferreting out the places where we're holding ourselves back, and I certainly have plenty of experience checking myself out about that too. All my contact information is on my website at www.leishaberry.com, and in the meantime, thanks so much for listening, and may you have a blessed and embodied day.